Thrunite TN32 is the successor to the very bright Thrunite TN31. Thrunite has a couple lights in what I'll call their super crazy bright category. Started with the TN30, which is a, well, super crazy bright 3,338 lumens, but it's very floody. They went on to the TN31, which is a very bright in and of itself, 1,376 lumens, but is very throwy. They took these and they one-upped the TN31 and they came up with the TN32. And I'll come back and show you the differences in a little bit later. But let's have a look at the TN32 first, starting with the case. Similar to the previous Thrunite cases, but this one is just a little bit of new design, some curved corners, has feet both here and on the bottom here, whichever way you want to set it. Sort of this lunchbox design, a Thrunite there. Open it up and we'll have a look on the inside. So on the inside you get the user manual, the flashlight in its sort of belt clip. Come back to that. And then down on the bottom here, there is a nice lanyard, some extra O-rings, an extra tail button, and a warranty card. Let me get all this out of the way. Let's start with the belt case. This has both a snap and Velcro for a little bit of extra security. I probably wouldn't carry this on my belt because it's not a small light, pretty big, but it is an option. Or even if you're just going to put it in your bag, if you don't want it to get banged up or scratched up, you can keep it in this case. Opens up and out comes the light. Quick comparison, this to the TN31. They are pretty much the exact same size, the exact same design. The big difference that you can tell by looking at them, other than one says 31 and one says 32, is that the 32 has this sort of chromed ring here versus the all black on the TN31. Otherwise, design is the same. The TN32 is a little bit brighter, a little bit heavier. Just quick differences on that. The TN31 is 1,376 lumens. TN32 ups that to 1,702 lumens. The throw, at least the rated throw, 840 meters versus 979 meters. My general rule for throw is you take the meters and you convert it into feet. So 840 meters, rounded up to about 900. And if you check out my review of the TN30, I was pretty easily able to see out to about 300 yards. The TN32, 979 meters, round that up to 1,000. And so this is going to throw, obviously a little farther than the TN31 is going to be. There's only really, 300 yards. If it throws farther, there's only so much useful distance that you're actually going to be able to see at night. So it was plenty far. And even in my review of this, it was a pretty murky night. There was a lot of stuff out in the air. So that was hindering the distance of this. So on a clear night, no telling how far you could quite see with these. Otherwise, one last difference, the weight, 566 grams and 650 grams. That's without batteries. Uses for this light. This is not going to be an everyday carry light by any means because it is a big light. You're not going to put this in your pocket. You're probably not going to put it in the belt case on your belt. But this is essentially going to be a searchlight. If you're law enforcement, if you're a park ranger, if you're somewhere where you just want a super bright light to look through the forest, to look for animals, look around your property, this is perfect for that. Price on it, $179, similar to the price of the TN31, which has now gone down just a little bit in price. All right, so let's have a look at the TN32. On the back here, tail cap, or the tail button, it is a forward click design such that you can half press it and the light will come on, full press it, click it, and the light comes on. You can get into the battery compartment by either taking the back off here, just to show you. Take that off. There's an O-ring in the back here. And then you can take it off also up in front here. Depending on the batteries, get them in there nice. They'll be just a little bit snug in there depending on the types of batteries you use, but not a big deal. They come out. And here there's the springs. Shows the positive and negative, and you can tell that by the spring anyway. Fit them in there. This uses three 18650 batteries, and this has polarity protection, so you can put this in either way, this way or this way. There's a spring up in the front here, and another O-ring here. Up in here, if you unscrew this, one of the things that they've changed with this is it has this sort of chrome ring here, and apparently in here there's some new copper circuitry that's supposed to do better for heat dissipation compared to the TN31. So we'll put this back together. Moving down, the chrome ring there, and then same user interface as the TN31. There's a control ring here that you rotate. Goes all the way from here on dim, rotate it over, standby mode, and a strobe. There is a ramp, a little symbol you can see here that shows when it's over on the dim side. And then you get here, it's labeled standby and strobe. Personally, I think the TN31 with that black is a little bit easier to see where you are on that ramp. So that might be one change that I might prefer with it. Otherwise, not a big deal, because probably I usually will start it in low and then just kind of ramp it up. In the dark, you're not gonna be able to see either of these anyway. User interface is the same as on the TN31. Brightness levels start at a dim 0.6 lumens, and then all you do is you rotate this ring, moving up. That 0.6 lumens, it will do for 80 days. I'll put the run times up here on the screen, but it ramps it up all the way to 1702 lumens. It'll do that for 1.5 hours. There's then a standby mode, and you can do that from that, and you can rotate it to the right into the strobe, which is a variable strobe, or to the left into that full brightness. In the standby mode, there is a small amount of battery drain, so if you're going to store it in that, just be aware of that. Make sure it's clicked off. That way you're not losing the battery while you're doing that. Down to the head, pretty big head, and the reflector is a very deep, very smooth reflector with the Cree XM-L2U2 emitter in there. The bezel is crenellated, such that if the light is on, you'll be able to see it. Let's have a look at this light outside here, out in the snow. It's actually pretty bright out here tonight, given that there's the snow is lighting things up, but we'll see how this goes. So I've got the light here, starting with it on dim, the 0.6 lumens you can see there. You can see it a little bit in the snow there. This would be good for, if you're in a tent somewhere, ramping it up through the brightnesses here. Moving on up to the full brightness there. There's in standby, and there's full brightness. And you can see just the beam shape here. And again, going up to this close stuff here, this is probably, 10 yards, 20 yards, bright sign, 40 yards, and on down, probably 100, 7,500 yards all the way back there. It's a little bit tough to get an idea out here because there's actually quite a bit of light out here. But you can see this light, just how focused that beam is. It's kind of like a spotlight because it is just so bright and so focused. Looking at the strobe. There's the strobe. And standby and back to the full brightness. So there you go, the Thrunite TN32. If you are looking for a super crazy, bright, super throwy light, check this one out from Thrunite. It is well made, feels tough in the hand. Another great light from them.